based off the loot. Awaken Blasphemy? Dude! Dude! I found the savior. Dude. 3, 2, 1. Ah! I hate this game so much. Sorry, boss. I'm actually sick, though. I bet you I'm so good at this game I can just dodge those death orbs without using this.
Remind yourself that overconfidence is a slow and insidious killer.
Ah! Alright, that was karma. What is this? There's nothing I can fucking do about that! You got the fucking half over here and the half here. And you're going pew 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 pew, and I can't do anything about it. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for checking out our latest build guide. We got a real treat in store for you today. Today we have a Leap Slam Auto Bomber. Now, I know it sounds crazy, but it actually works. Wait till you get to check out some of the footage. But first, if you haven't had a chance already, please hit subscribe on that channel if you enjoy the content. And if you would really like to help me out, please stop by twitch.tv/sniper1232. Maybe drop me a follow, say hi. I can answer all questions there. We do anything from carries to free crafting and all sorts of good fun shenanigans. Alright, let's go ahead and dig on in. So what I got here is a T16 burial chamber. We threw as many modifiers on it as we could, as well as 4 sextons to kind of juice it up to show you a really nice map to demonstrate the build on. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing we're going to start doing is we're going to rally cry and enduring cry, and then from there it's just leap, slam, and profit. So the way we're doing this is we're stacking as much AoE as physically possible in order to make these enemies explode AoE radiuses that much more intensive and larger, so we can start chaining them together. So the way we're using this is we're using the Disintegrator Staff for the huge damage that it provides, and Disintegrator's always had that catch-22. It's one of the highest damage weapons in the game for a unique, but it has, whenever you use a skill, you're going to degen life based off how many siphoning charges. Now, how many siphoning charges depends on how many shaped or elder items that you have on you, but what we're doing is we're a berserker and we're stacking Warcry jewels, and we have the Warcry Ascendancy node that says whenever we shout, we regen a bunch of life, so we can easily counter the big catch-22 of the Disintegrator. So right here we have our single target setup, which is cast while channeling Cyclone Blade Vortex, and we're going to use that to kill our bosses or anytime we're in a tight space and we don't want to leap slam. So kind of demonstrating it right here. The Cyclone does a decent amount of damage. The Blade Vortex is the majority of the damage though. So right now you can literally just run into mobs and just watch them explode. You see here we're just chaining explosion after explosion after explosion. The cool part about this build is it plays a lot like an auto bomber, but it can actually kill bosses. We've successfully killed Cyrus, Awakener 8, 3 times on this. We've killed Shaper a couple times. We've killed all the Guardians. The build can really do any content. It shines very well in the delve. Now, the thing about this build is when I made this, I just initially wanted to do just a cast while channeling setup, and then it initially turned into, yeah, we can use that, but let's use Leap Slam as our primary clear skill. So let's go ahead and demonstrate some of the single targets. So what I'm doing right here is I'm kind of just channeling up some Blade Vortex blades, and then we're going to go leap into the boss, drop Vol Blade Vortex, and the boss is dead. So that was like a quick map demonstration. We'll do a quick metamorph here just to show you some more single target. And boom, just like that, you saw the explosions just cascade around the entire circle. One mob dies, triggers a kill, kills the other mob, triggers another kill. Alright, let's go over and break the gear down. So, like I said, we're using the Disintegrator Staff. This Disintegrator Staff is super cheap right now. It costs just a couple chaos. It's really, really cheap. Fusings are also very cheap this league, so getting a 6-link fusing Disintegrator Staff should not be a problem whatsoever. So you're going to look out for your high damage to physical and spells. It's the top 2 modifiers on this. Next up, we went with a +1 power charge helm. I went with the enchant blade vortex has critical strike for each blade, so it adds up to 30 crit multi. This is a huge crit build, so we want to stack as much crit multi as we can. So we got the +1 power charge and crit multiplier on this helm. You could easily just go with a +1 power charge helm, or you could just do a big life and resistance helm. Also, Dex is a big struggle on this build, so if you just want to go with the budget option, find a good helm with a good enchant, some Dex and life and some resistances, and you're probably good to go. Our next is we're using the amulet. This amulet is dirt cheap. Make sure you get one with a high crit multi on it. I bought a whole bunch of them. Anointed battle cry on it. It's 100% mandatory that you have battle cry anointed, and then I vaulted a whole bunch of them. I ended up with this one getting the hatred buff effect, and very affordable amulet. You don't need to corrupt them, but you do need to have battle cry on it. All right, next up for our boots, we want to use tailwind elusive boots. The reason why we want to do that is we want the crit and we want the action speed. So tailwind elusive boots can get rather expensive. If not, you can just go with a very high movement speed pair of two-tone boots. Maybe if you're looking on a budget, go get yourself like 35% movement speed, like 80 life, and some resistances on it. That's what I would recommend. All right, next up is the belt. This was the more expensive slot for me. The way I had built my character, I was super short on dex, so I had to make a Stygian Vice, and I wanted to have as much dex as possible, so I literally had to spam the dex essence on a Stygian Vice till I hit something I liked. I got very lucky. I got it in like 9 tries. This is a pretty damn expensive belt, but it's kind of the only way I was able to solve my dex problem without having to butcher my tree too much. So next up, we go with a Hands of the High Templar. You're looking to get plus to your duration, your AoE, your war cry, and anything else is bonus. +2, +4, you're good to go. So next up, we want to use diamond rings because we want to scale our crit as much as possible. So you can see I'm using 2 diamond rings. One's Assassin's Mark, and they both have multiplier on them. So stacking as much crit multi as we can, like I said. And then on to the chest. This is a very expensive chest I have right here. Not because it's rolled really amazing, because it's 6 off color. We got 4 blues, 2 greens. It cost me a bunch of jewelers to force craft this to have the blue requirements, and then I took it to a Varici bench and got 2 white sockets. But what you're looking for is you want to have spells have crit, and enemies you kill explode 3% of their life as physical damage. Now, that is the important part, because with the AoE that we're scaling onto this build, it will absolutely increase the bubble size of the explosions, and that's what we're chaining. That's where you're seeing that big auto bomber playstyle without having all the heralds up or anything like that. So that's what we're going to go with for our chest. If you're not looking to go crazy and get a 6 off color astral plate, you could easily do any other base that would support more blue sockets than an astral plate. So those are your options. And then I will have links listed down below in the description to kind of help you find the items that you need. Okay, let's talk about our link setup. So with our 6 links, we'll go over first. The first one, it's going to be kind of awesome. It is the Leap Slam. So you're going to go Leap Slam linked with the following: Melee Fizz, Fortify, Shockwave, added accuracy, and increased area of effect. Now you don't have to have the Awakened Gems, but I just didn't put a limit on the budget when we made this build, so that's what I'm using for my Leap Slam. And then for our cast wall channeling setup, so we're using Cyclone, and then we're going to be using cast wall channeling right here to trigger blade vortexes. So we're going to be using power charge on crit, awakened AoE, controlled destruction, and that's why we're stacking so much crit chance, because with awakened, where's it at right here? Awakened Controlled Destruction, if you read it very closely, it says supported skills have 100% reduced critical strike. If you also read Marlin's Fallacy, you're going to see that it also says 40% less crit strike. So it is absolutely imperative that we stack as much critical strike chance as we can. That's why we have the extra power charges and all the other crit items. And I'll show you later in the POB what our effective crit is. All right, moving on to our other link setup, we're using Precision, with Hatred, with Blood Rage, and then Enlighten. Then we got, for our next setup, for our War Cries, which are going in our gloves, we got Enduring Cry, Rallying Cry, Empower, and Herald of Ash. The reason why we're using Herald of Ash is whenever those explosions go off, they can overkill the enemies, and if they burn out from the Herald of Ash, they'll explode, causing even more triggers. So, next up, our Cast 1 damage setup on our boots. We got Cast 1 damage taken with Molten Shell, we got a Portal Gem, and we have Berserk. Now, we're shouting a lot, so we'll constantly have Berserk uptime. It's a huge quality of life. You'll move faster, you'll take less damage, and you'll have much more attack speed on your Cyclone. Alright, let's go over the passive tree. So this is our passive tree for the Berserker. Our ascendancy is Berserker, we're getting Aspect of Carnage, Pain Reaver, Warbringer, Flawless Savagery. We will be killing all the bandits for the extra 2 passives. And the way this build works is we stack Cry Wolf as much as possible. You want to be running Cry Wolf with either Lead by Example, you can have a couple of those for the physical damage reduction, or you want Provocateur. Provocateur is your highest DPS to pair with Cry Wolf. That's going to give you some crit multiplier as well as critical strike chance. Also, you're going to need at least one mob mentality in with a Cry Wolf, just so you're generating rage as you're moving. Like I said on our amulet earlier, we are always anointing Battle Cry to make our War Cries instant. That way we can put it on our left mouse button, and as long as we're moving, we are generating rage and battle crying every time. So the way the tree goes is we're going to get out of the Marauder area as fast as possible, and we're going to travel the edge of the skill tree and pick up every notable that pertains to us along the way. We're going to sneak in some AoE, grab a jewel, grab another power charge, and as you can see, we're just riding the outer perimeter, picking up clusters as we come across them. If you're running the budget version, you will not be running a Voices here. You'll just run another one of the large cluster setups. Make sure it has Titanic Swings on it for the increased area of effect, and then you can pair it with either Heavy Hitter, or you could even pair it with Fearsome Warrior for some more AoE. But that's kind of the tree in a nutshell. You are going to want to get jewels, lots of them. You look for either spell damage, crit multiplier, life, resistance, or dex. Make sure they all have life on them. Make sure you cap your resistances, but your primary damage stats are critical multiplier, then spell damage with staffs. And then we also pick up on the expensive version. We are going to pick up a Watcher's Eye here that gives us critical strike while using Hatred. Just helps raise that effective crit. Since our two uniques, our unique amulet reduces our crit strike by 40%, and then our other amulet, or not amulet, but our gem here, Control Destruction, reduces critical strike chance by 100%. So we really have to stack a lot of critical strike chance to be really effective with the get a really an effective crit strike chance. That's why we run the diamond rings instead of anything else. So that is pretty much the gear in a nutshell, or not the gear, but the passive tree in a nutshell. Our flask, pretty open. You can run, life flask. Make sure you have at least one diamond flask. Bottled Faith if you got, the budget for it. Cinder Swallow is pretty mandatory. Azirius Promise is a ton of damage. Our total DPS that we're looking at with this build, so we got roughly 10 million with Blade Vortex, with the Vol Blade Vortex, basically 15 million, and then add the Cyclone on top. That's about, 17 million DPS. You could easily, if you know you're going to be doing a boss, you could go in here and swap out your area of effect for a conk effect, jump that up to 13 million. The other skills will go up with it as well, so 13, 20, and then 22, so you're up to 22 million single target if you swap in to conk effect for like when you're fighting Cyrus or Uber Elder or whatever. So that is the passive tree. Thank you so much for checking out the build. Really do appreciate all the support that we've been getting on YouTube, Twitch as well. So if you enjoyed the content, drop a follow, drop a subscribe. You can always find me at twitch.tv/sniper1232. I stream 7 days a week. I'm always available for questions, even if I'm not online. So again, thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed the content, and we'll see you on the next video. I just want to give a big shout out and thank you to Kluven, who helped me put this build together as well. Helped me fine tune some of the more unique niche aspects of the build, and I'll have his link to his stream linked in the description below. Thank you again, guys.